Suzuki by CFAO made its official entry into the Nigerian market in November 2019. But this is not that story.
So my name is Aissatou Diouf. I am the general manager in CFAO Motors in charge of Suzuki in Nigeria. We took over the plant on 2019, which we did the first launch. It was in November 19. But when we come in, we heard about Dr. Jibunoh, who had the experience of crossing the desert 3 times, but with Suzuki. So we're a little bit curious to know how and why he did it. So I have a privilege to meet him on several times, to have a discussion with him, to share experience with him, and I was very impressed, and especially with the passion he have for his project, which is his NGO, which is the F.A.D.E. The technology of Suzuki is really built and also continue, because there is a plan, there is an environment plan Suzuki has put in place for a vision of 2050, which is really to reach a point of emission of CO2, zero emission of CO2. We said, okay, somehow we need also to have an ambassador who is matched with our vision, is matched with what we really plan to do in the long term in the Nigerian market. And this is really the main reason why, for us, Dr. Jibunoh was the best profile to represent our brand as Suzuki, but also to represent our vision.
So the team flew up to Asaba, Delta State, to meet and have a conversation on camera with Dr. Newton Jibunoh. Just like you, we were curious as to why Suzuki was his car of choice for a desert crossing expedition. And here is what we learned.
After my second expedition, I found that the Sahara was on a very serious march. It was almost 14 countries bordering the Sahara, and it had expanded a great deal from what it was when I made my first expedition. So I decided to become a voice, to raise awareness, to let the countries and global community know that there was likely to be a catastrophic consequences of the Sahara moving and encroaching. And on that, I decided to incorporate an instrument, a body known as Fight Against Desert Encrouchment. So for me to be able to look into the scientific side of fighting back the desert, I decided to go back to the university in Israel, the Ben-Gurion University, where I studied the science of desertification. And that was very helpful. When I came back to Nigeria, I decided to institute a pilot project in the north. Again, with a lot of Suzuki vehicles, because that was the only vehicle I was able to kind of give those coming with me the guarantee that it was safe to enter the desert. The third expedition came to be because I recall for the third expedition, I had just one car, one Suzuki. But because the whole news had gone round, BBC had carried me, CNN had carried me. A lot of Nigerians now became interested. So before I knew it, more and more people started showing interest, which made me acquire a second Vitara Suzuki. And as we were preparing the 2 Suzukis, more and more people, interesting people by the way, not just anybody, like writers, like photographers, like scientists, started coming and showing a lot of interest. And again, because of that, we went for a third Suzuki. And then of course, we then started getting quite a lot of publicity. interviews by CNN again, by NTA, in fact, NTA offering to be on the journey with us. Lagos State government took a lot of interest. With the news going around, parents of those that had volunteered to come with me, my own family, they launched a serious campaign against the journey. And in fact, in some cases, a mother once came to me to say, please, you're taking my son to go and kill in the desert. If he dies, please make sure you bring the body back. Anyway, so I cannot recall out of the 7 men and women that came with me on that third expedition, that there was a time any one of them felt like going back. In fact, if anything, they want to go, if possible, every year. For those 80 to 100 that went on the expedition the 4th time, and for those 7 that went with me the 3rd time, the feedback I'm getting from most of them is that it's a journey of a lifetime, and it's a journey that changes your life completely. And that's why I would like to as long as I live, I'll continue to promote that an expedition like that is carried out every year. The Suzuki cars are meant for most of our road network in the sub-Sahara region, because we have not been able to build the kind of roads you have in Europe, South America, and the rest of them. So, I use the word ruggedness. It's a very rugged vehicle, and also being affordable. It is something that appeals a lot to the middle class. The kind of environmental concern that I have, that many of us have, climate change. You want something that is not going to be harmful to the environment. And Suzuki, from what I have experienced, has a way of minimizing the kind of pollution you get in other cars. It is a vehicle with a good name and with a good reputation. During vacation and weekends, people come here to just view the car that traveled to London and back. Because if I know, and I don't know any other car that I can guarantee to be the one to embark on, because I have tested. Not only that I have tested Suzuki, I have tested some other cars. Not only that I have tested some other cars. During my many expeditions, I saw quite a lot of abandoned cars in the Sahara with their skeletons scattered all over the place. I wouldn't, again, in fairness I wouldn't want to start naming those cars, but which also went a long way to convince me that my analysis and my choice of Suzuki for an expedition like this was perfect.